Oh, hello. I'm began to read about the勝手に電力2.0 seminar. Today is 1305. Um, the subject is Oil 2024. 2030年はどうなる? So let's begin. Executive summary. Global oil markets navigate a challenging landscape. Global oil market will need to surpass myriad challenges in the medium term. Structural shift reshape oil demand and trade flows, while rising oil supplies could potentially weigh on prices through the end of the decade. DB divergent regional economic trajectories and accelerating deployment of clean and energy-saving technologies are combining to progressively slow the pace of oil demand growth, with a plateau emerging in the final years of our forecast, which land to 2030. Emerging economies in Asia, particularly China and India, account for all of global demand growth. By contrast, oil demand in advanced economies falls sharply. Rising world oil supplies led by non-OPEC plus producers are expected to surpass forecast demand from 2025 onwards. Mirroring demand break with long-term trends, a front-loaded build in oil production capacity is forecast to lose momentum and swing into contraction towards the end of our medium-term outlook. A surge in natural gas liquid NGLs and condensates will account for 45% of new capacity increases over the forecast period. In a major shift in strategy, Saudi Arabia has put on hold its planned crude oil capacity increase and will now focus on expanding natural gas liquids and condensates, which aligns with its effort to boost the domestic gas supply. It may also reflect an acknowledgement of the rapidly building surplus in global crude oil production capacity. The rise of petrochemicals as the main pillar of global demand growth largely tracks the substantial increase in global supply of NGLs, which are instrumental in their production. At the same time, these changes will also create new challenges from refiners as demand for refined products is displaced by non-refined products such as NGLs and biofuels. Non-refined fuels are set to capture a staggering three-quarters of projected global demand growth over the 2023 to 2030 period. Moreover, refiners will need to reconfigure their product slates to meet divergent trends for distillates amid reduced consumption as the energy transition accelerates. This is especially the case in low transport fuels as EVs rapidly increasing their market shares. Amid all these structural changes to supply and demand patterns, the global oil market outlook faces further uncertainties from weaker macroeconomic expectations, new government policies, and regulations to fast track the energy transition, and an unprecedented level of investment to scale up more efficient technologies. While the challenges are formidable, the industry have consistently proved its adaptability to dramatic supply and demand changes, including from the energy crisis brought on by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the COVID-19 pandemic before that. Surplus global supply capacity will reach unprecedented levels by 2030. A ramping up of world oil production capacity led by the United States and the other producers in the Americas is expected to outstrip demand growth over the 2023 to 2030 forecast period and inflate the world's spare capacity cushion to levels that are unprecedented. Barring the COVID-19 period, total supply capacity rises by 6 MB per day to nearly 113.8 MB per day by 2030, are staggering 8 MB per day, but above project global demand of 105.4. OPEC Plus spare crude production capacity and implied total oil stock build 2016 to 2030. It is Saudi Arabia is the most, but under UAE second, Iraq, and other OPEC. Such a massive curtain could upend the current OPEC Plus market management strategy aimed at supporting prices. For now, the Producer Alliance has laid out a roadmap for winding extra-bluntly cuts of up to 2.2 from quarter 4 2024 to quarter 3 3rd 2025. But this outlook is subject to their caveat that the production increases can be paused or reversed depending on market conditions. A lower price environment would ultimately challenge the U.S. shale industry, traditionally the fastest respondent to changing market circumstances. How the industry will adapt and adjust to the new supply landscape will have wide-ranging consequences for producers and consumers globally through the remainder of the decade and beyond. World oil demand tempered by green energy transition. Based on today's market conditions and policies, global oil demand will level off at around 106 toward the end of the decade amid the accelerating transition to clean energy technologies, surging EV sales and continued efficiency improvements of vehicles, and the substitution of oil with renewables or gas in the power sector will significantly curb oil use in road transport and electricity generation. Total oil demand is nevertheless forecast to rise by 3.2 between 2023 and 2030, supported by increased use of jet fuel and feedstocks from the booming petrochemical sector. Indeed, consumption of naphtha, liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, and ethane will climb by 3.7 over the forecast period, fueled also by growth in LPG use for clean cooking, while oil demand dominated by growth in petrochemical feedstocks. Oil demand 2017 to 2030, and petrochemical feedstocks and very increasing growth in oil demand 2022 to 2030. Growth will be dominated by Asian economies, especially India and China, as oil demand pivot to emerging markets countries. Demand from the two Asian economic powerhouses will develop in very different ways. However, in China, growth is said to be driven by the petrochemical sector as rapid deployment of clean energy technologies and massive infrastructure investments in high-speed rail grant demand for transport fuels. In India, transport fuels will defy the global trend, rising sharply. Significant gains will also come from other emerging and development economies in Asia. By contrast, demand in advanced economies will continue its decade-long decline, falling from 45.7 in 2023 to 42.7 by 2030. Apart from during the pandemic, the last time demand was this low was in 1991. Over that same time period, oil demand from emerging and developing economies will have increased by a factor of 2.5. Upstream investments and oil supply on the rise. In line with the ascendancy of petrochemicals as the anchor of global oil demand growth, 45% of the supply capacity increase over the forecast period comes from NGLs and condensates, while Saudi Arabia has shelved its planned crude capacity increased from 12 to 13. Its development of the massive Jafurah gas field will move ahead. This will result in the substantial ramping up of gas liquid output of almost 1 by 2030. Volumes that are not subject to OPEC plus quotas. Strong gains in U.S. energy areas are also expected. Total energy areas are condensate are projected to rise by 2.7 from 2023 to 2030. By comparison, crude oil production capacity is forecast to increase by 2.6 over the same period, while biofuels account for 620 kb of the 6 megab MB total. Non-OPEC plus producers will continue to lead the capacity build, accounting for 4.6 or 76% of the net increase. The United States alone make up 2.1 of the non-OPEC plus gains, while Brazil, Guyana, Canada, and Argentina contribute a further 2.7 as a sanctioned project quiz fizzled out towards the end of the forecast. Growth stores in the United States and Canada, while Brazil and Guyana shift into decline based on the current plans. However, should companies swiftly approve additional projects that are already on the drawing board, an incremental 1.3 of non-OPEC plus capacity could become operational by 2030. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, and Iraq read a 1.4 rise in OPEC plus oil capacity as African and Asian members post declines. The UAE and Iraq are raising crude oil capacity while Saudi Arabia is poised for the significant increase in the air and condensate supply. Capacity in Russia is expected to show only a marginal decline despite international sanctions as a giant Vostok project ramp up, helping to offset losses at major oil fields. The boost in supply follows a steady increase in upstream investment. Global upstream capital expenditure rose by 13% to an 80-year high of USD 538 billion in 2023, and they are on track to increase by another 7% this year. Refiners adjust to slow demand for refined fuels. Global refining capacity is forecast to rise by 3.3 from 2023 to 2030, well below historical trends. Even with a moderate expansion in capacity, the increase outpaced the current refined products over the period. Refiners will need to progressively modify their product output to meet divergent trends for distillates as gasoline demand falls amid an increase in the market share of electronic vehicles while jet fuel consumption rises. In addition, non-refined fuels such as NGLs and biofuels further undermine demand for refined product supplies and the need for additional refining capacity. Non-refined fuel products are set to capture more than 75% of projected demand growth over the 2023-2030 period. This significant rise in non-refined product supplies will add pressure on operating rates and refinery profitability, especially in major demand centers. That raises the prospect of further capacity closure by the end of the decade. Capacity growth will remain concentrated in Asia, most notably in China and India. But post-2027, there are signs of expansion slowing. Global oil trade will continue its eastward shift. Global oil trade will continue to be dictated by Asia's growing structural shock for in crude and product supply and the expanding supplies of crude, energy and product in the Atlantic basin. Rising OPEC crude supply in tandem with sanctions on Russian crude exports and the OPEC plus voluntary cuts will push higher volumes from the Atlantic basin to east of Suez over the outlook period, and not net crude oil exports versus Asian import requirement 2019 to 2030. Middle East is the most. The loss of medium source crude from the Middle East amid OPEC cuts is partially offset by rising supplies from Brazil, Guyana, and Canada. Asian markets have been opened in earnest to Canadian crude through the expanded Trans Mountain pipeline to the Pacific coast. Light sweet U.S. crude oil will increasingly move to Europe and Africa as well as to India and other Asian refiners. As the dominant center of oil product demand grows, Asia will attract a greater share of product supply from the broader region, notably from the Middle East, supplies from Russia, which are subject to sanctions in much of the Atlantic basin, and will continue to head eastward. Also, Africa and Latin America may also boost imports over time. Europe's shortfall in diesel and jet fuel supply, plus North America's need for jet fuel imports, will focus global competition most keenly in the middle distillate market. That's all.